Hello, here. This is Waqas Iqbal from Tracks, and today we are here with our series of Harvard Business Review article series. In this episode, we are going to discuss another very important article, which is all about communication because it plays very crucial role for speakers and as well as for listeners. So its title is How to Become an Authentic Speaker by Nick Morgan. So, Dr. Athar, welcome to Harvard Business Review article series again. And would you please let us know the idea in brief about this, how to become an authentic speaker?
Yes, thank you, Waqas. This is an extremely important idea, and this is an extremely important article because you see people, especially who are in leadership positions, they need to understand that connecting authentically and with authenticity with their audience is very important if they want to inspire their followers. So authenticity, including the ability to communicate authentically, has become a very important and vital leadership attribute. And when leaders have it, they can inspire their followers, as I have just mentioned. And their followers, due to that inspiration, will make extraordinary efforts on behalf of their organizations. But if leaders do not have authenticity and they do not speak authentically with their followers, then cynicism might prevail in the organization and few employees would be willing to do more than the minimum necessary to get by. This is important. Secondly, I think we need to realize when we are in leadership positions that if your spoken language, a spoken message, and your body language, they do not match and they do not align with each other, your audience tends to respond to your non-verbal messages more rather than your words. So it is written in the article that gestures speak louder than words, right? So just as we say actions speak louder than words, gestures speak louder than words. So we need to be very careful about matching our body language or non-verbal gestures with our words. One more thing which is important for the viewers is that traditional science or traditional approach tells us that we should prepare amply and we should prepare enough before facing an audience. Like we should do careful rehearsals and repeated rehearsals for an optimal period of time so that we can become very comfortable when we face our audience. But in reality, this approach doesn't work either. That's a very important finding in this article, and that's very, I think it's very true in real life also, because the traditional approach teaches us that we should maintain eye contact, for example, we should spread our arms, we should walk out from behind the rostrum or podium and move towards the listeners or audience. But this also sometimes doesn't work, and because when we make calculated gestures through our body language, they can also be seen as inauthentic. Moreover, I think the leaders, people who are in leadership positions, they need to realize that even if you have rehearsed and you have prepared well as far as your script is concerned, as far as what you want to talk is concerned, and as far as your body language is concerned, actual delivery of your talk, or when you are talking to your audience, you might sense that you are not being listened to enthusiastically. And that's the critical time where you should realize that you are not connecting with your audience. So we need to understand that that happens because we use our gestures incorrectly. We tend to use our gestures incorrectly. What happens in real life is that we usually use the gestures when we are naturally talking to someone. We use the gestures before we utter the word. So, for example, when you are approaching someone you love, you might first, open your arms and try to embrace that person and then say, "I love you." Right? So that's a natural way of, and that's authentic way of communication. But when you rehearse too much and you tell yourself that these gestures you have to perform on the stage or in front of the audience, you tend to perform these gestures after you speak. So these gestures are used incorrectly. And the incorrect timing of these gestures actually demonstrate lack of authenticity in you. So Nick Morgan tells us that we have to focus on 4 things. Number 1, you need to stay open to your audience. Number 2, you need to connect with your audience. Number 3, you need to be passionate about the topic on which you speak. And number 4, which is the final one, is you need to listen to your audience. When you rehearse keeping these 4 things in your mind, you will overcome the tendency of using your gestures incorrectly while communicating with your audience. So this is Waqas, the idea in brief.
Right. Still, if we see in this article, there is mentioned that one must rehearse the speech or topic or content, but should not rehearse the gesture, because it is very much linked with the situation, with the audience, their mood, and the atmosphere where speaker will be when he or she will be speaking. So would you please elaborate how to implement this idea in practice?
Great. Yes. So Waqas, I talked about the 4 things which Nick Morgan has discussed. Number 1 is being open to your audience. So now to implement this notion or concept in practice is that you need to practice your speech by envisioning that you are talking to someone you are comfortable with, right? So for example, your spouse, your very close friend, your child. When you practice this way, that you are talking to someone you are comfortable with, this will lead to more natural body language, such as smiles at appropriate time during your discourse and relaxed shoulders, for example, right? And this will lead into these behaviors will lead into more candid expression of your thoughts and feelings while you are talking to your audience. So first thing is that when you rehearse, you need to stay open and practice your speech by envisioning that how you would like to talk to your loved one or someone who is very close to you. Second concept which Nick Morgan talked about was to connect with your audience. So in order to connect with your audience, you need to think of those things which would keep your audience engaged with you. Just imagine a child who is not heeding to you, but you would try to grab his or her attention in whatever way you can. So this is the approach with which you should strategize yourself. You should simply do what feels natural and appropriate at a critical time within your engagement when you are engaging or interacting with your audience. So for example, you can increase the intensity of your voice or the volume of your voice, or you can move closer to your listener, and this will actually help you connect with your audience, which is very important. Third thing which Nick Morgan talked about was being passionate about your topic. This is Waqas very natural. If you are not passionate about what you are talking to someone, you will not feel authentic. It will be an inauthentic kind of an interaction. So what is at stake? What results do you want from your presentation? You should focus on giving a speech in which you feel really energetic, and every underlying word which you want to, every word which you want to utter from your tongue should be such passionate and energetic word that it should, come across as really engaging for the people, that you are talking about something which really matters to you, which is important to you, and which is important to them as well, because that's why they have come and sit in front of you. And lastly, the notion of listening to your audience. It is extremely important because you need to, you need to design your presentation in a manner where the audience should feel excited about what is coming next, right? If they are not excited about what is coming next, then you're not listening to them. You have to really get close to them in the sense that you need to vary your language at a proper point in time. You may ask impromptu questions. You may vary the pace of your, the way you speak. You may slow down a little bit. You may, speed up a little bit. And you may even change or eliminate some parts of your talk if you think the people would not feel excited about what is coming next for them. So this is something which you need to improvise. This is something which you need to anticipate, and it is very important. So I think Nick Morgan's these 4 pieces of advice are really valuable. And if someone who wants to come across as an authentic leader in front of his or her audience, you take these 4 pieces of advice into account.
Dr. Athar, you yourself have been an authentic speaker, and in Pakistan, I have seen you as speaker at many platforms, and as well as abroad too. So, what has been your experience? Can you please tell us that this idea really connects? As a speaker, tell us what has, according to your experience.
Yeah. I think, Waqas, these 4 things, I usually do them. I have been doing these 4 things, and these are very important. But in addition to this, my own experience informs me that when you face some audience, you need to overcome the tendency that someone is judging you. When you have that feeling inside you, and when you are facing the audience that someone is judging you because of your maybe dress, because of your overall, how you look, then you get that nervousness. Excuse me. And that nervousness actually leads you towards that misalignment of gestures with your words. And I have been trying to do it. Initially, when I started as a speaker, I was a little bit shy at that point in time, at 25 years ago, when I transformed into a reasonable speaker. I can't say I'm an expert speaker, but I have over a period of time developed myself into a reasonable speaker where I engage, where I interact, where I connect with the audience. So I try to overcome this tendency that people are judging me. So this is this is the addition of what Nick Morgan tells us, and this is my own experience.
Right. Thanks for sharing with us your own experience. And I must say, in the end, I also used to tell this to my students and all those whom I used to mentor. Whatever you study, whatever degree you do, wherever you go, but there is one skill that is going to help you in the professional life when you will go into the practical field. That is the communication skills. And our today's talk sounds about how to become an authentic speaker, and the speaker is all about communication. When Sun Tzu, the famous Chinese strategist, has said that if the command is not communicated clearly, then it is the fault of leaders, not the followers. So we are going to end this discussion here, and we are looking forward for your comments, and you can mention any other Business Review series article which we perhaps missed. Thank you. Take care.